Can you do it?
Welcome to the Good Dude, Good Dad podcast. There you go. Intro song.
Yeah.
I told you it was going to happen.
Colorful drinks. Let's showcase Hidden House colorful drinks.
I'm boring. I just got
Summer
Summer drinks.
gradients.
Welcome back to another episode of the Good Dude, Good Dad podcast. I'm Jordan, and that's
Ben.
and our guest today is the one and only George Bernal.
Yeah. Bow, 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 bow. Yeah, I love that.
Let's go.
Drake, what?
Oh my
Party
goodness.
time.
We're, if you can't tell, having way too much fun with this new system that we have. Shout out to our homies at Rode Mics. We don't really fully know how to use it, but
No.
so far it's been really cool.
There's way more stuff than we need it for, but
Yeah.
it's awesome.
And also, this will be our very first episode of Jordan and I interviewing a guest together.
Yeah.
And George is the first one. Lucky him. But today we're basically just going to kind of talk about. We're just going to flow. No full agendas,
No.
but I've known George for a while now. I got to introduce George and Jordan, which is really rad. And George just took us on our first bow hunting trip.
That very first. That was awesome.
The very first.
That's pretty much when me and Jordan bonded.
That
That's
was.
true.
When you were sleeping in the back, we
Laying
talked
down.
for like 8 hours.
That's true. But I guess we'll kind of just jump into it. George has been bow hunting for how long?
Realistically, I've been hunting forever, but got a bow. I always shot bow, like
Yeah.
trad bow and all that, for years. And then I would say in like 2017 is
Okay.
when I'm like, oh, I'm gonna actually start hunting with a bow.
That's 7 years.
What,
Yeah.
What drew you to bow hunting?
A Native American
Yeah.
tradition, I guess, from trad bow.
Yeah.
Going to trad bow, which trad bow is like your traditional bow, recurve, longbow or whatever. And I just like challenges in life.
Yeah.
So I think the most challenging, other than getting a spear and chasing pigs down, like with a long spear, bow hunting is probably the most challenging way of doing it. But yeah, that's kind of what
Drew you to
drew
it?
me in. And once you get into it, like, it's crazy, man. I got to see a lot of people, like during COVID. I hate to say it, I call them Roganites,
Yeah.
you know, because they all like, oh, I'm gonna become a bow hunter, like Cam Haynes and Rogan and all that. And you guys know Big Mike, my buddy Mike,
Yeah.
who that's how I met through archery and stuff. He we'd be at the range and for me it was just more passion.
Yeah.
And then during COVID, you got to see a lot of these guys like, oh, I'm going to start bow hunting. And they would come, they'd buy the most high-end bow and the top one with all the gadgets and gizmos and the case. And I'm going to go hunt and this is going to be my life now because this is cool, right?
Yeah.
And then they'll come for 2 weeks and then they realize this isn't what I wanted. It's not as
It's
fun
hard.
as
It's
I
harder
thought.
than you think it
It's
is.
hard. Like not that it's hard, but just the concentration. And those guys, like those other like Rogan and they talk about it. It's like you either love it and you're in 100%, or you are, I just want to be cool, but I don't want to put in the time, so they give up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I think there's a romanticism to people thinking I'm going to pick up a bow, go shoot an animal, provide, do all that stuff. But I mean, I'm a victim to some of it too. Obviously, you guys know I get bored pretty easy, but like when we'd be at the range, I'm like, dude, I'm all right, I'm good. I've shot hundreds of arrows, even though that's nothing in the grand scheme. But I'm like, dude, I shot hundreds of arrows. When are we going hunting? Like,
Right.
I don't need to shoot a piece of paper.
every day I get a text like, I'm ready. I'm like, oh, you're ready, huh?
Yeah. Well,
I'm like, okay, well, I'm bringing the 3D decoys and we're going to shoot at those for a while and let's see if you're really ready. And
I clearly wasn't ready, and we'll get to that. But no, yeah, I think it's kind of not just about bow hunting, but about like everything passion wise. Is there's a romanticism to everything new.
Oh, definitely.
And COVID was like the freaking pinnacle of that, right? People picked up sourdough starters.
Yeah.
How many freaking people are now expert bakers? You know, because they picked up something.
I'm not gonna lie, I tried sourdough,
I'm
but
sure
I
you
just
did.
I couldn't like constantly having to feed it drove
As
me
you know,
nuts.
I own a restaurant with
Yeah.
my partner Chris, whose land that we went to go hunt on.
Yeah.
And even us during COVID, like everybody had to figure out something, right?
Yeah.
We own a restaurant bar, pizza.
Yeah.
I got, everybody makes
Yeah.
pizza now. But I worked on it, practiced and perfected it, and now that's what we serve. And
Yeah.
it's great, It's just, if you have passion for something, regardless if it's fucking stacking boxes at a warehouse, like making coffee or whatever, it's just like, it's not that I want to be perfected, because I think we always strive for perfection. Nothing is ever perfect. And like I said that to one of your baristas who's an artist, she's like, oh, I want everything. I'm like, just strive for perfection, right?
Yeah.
Like you'll never ever be perfect, because it's just hard.
It's impossible.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
If you thrive for it, then you can never fail. So it's just finding that balance of everything and taking pride in it. And I think a lot of people don't take pride in stuff.
No, man. It goes back to the instant gratification that we always talk about. It's you'll be super stoked and content for a week, 2 weeks, 2 months, maybe a year, but like once that instant gratification, that reward, the romanticism wears off, it's like, all right, on to the next thing. Versus if you have a passion, like for me, after that hunt, I'm more passionate now because I was freaking pissed off. One, but two, it's like I understand why we were doing certain things, obviously at the range,
Right.
but at the same time, now that I got that taste, I'm like, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Like, let's go again. To me, that's the only way we're gonna get good. Is we just got to put in repetitions. We got to go. The hunting component was wild because we picked up a bow in January,
Right.
and we went on our first hunting trip when the season opened in
End of March. Yeah.
End of March. So I was trying to.
Why are you laughing?
Ben,
I'm just laughing.
he's just laughing. He likes to laugh. No, but like even when I first met you guys at the range, right?
Right.
And all those little tiny things as new bow. Let's just say people are shooting like a compound bow.
Right.
Obviously different from a recurve bow, to where you're sighting in, finding a bubble on your sight and all that. For example, like you being a Marine, and I would say with you guys, shoot guns.
Yeah.
And obviously most beginners will grip a bow like a gun, which you can't.
Yeah.
You can't. That's a learning curve, right?
Yeah.
And then Ben, the whole deep breath thing, where you would draw back, have your anchor point set, and then you would take a big deep breath, but not knowing you're going off target, and then you got to find target again. Where I said, instead of taking your deep breath, do it before you draw, so you get that and relax, and then draw back, and then all that. It's just like all these little intricate things that experience, man.
Right.
I've like I said, I've been bow hunting. Me and Mike have gone, and 4 years in a row I've gone and stalked animals and not have the right shot. And it's just it's never gonna be perfect. Like I said, nothing's ever perfect, right? Everybody wants that instant gratification, but this is something you got to commit to, and just know you're gonna fail, and you're gonna maybe hurt yourself or fall, or things will weather, like everything, like Mother Nature will take its course, and that's like nature versus nurture, right? We could sit at a range and shoot the most perfect shots and think we're the best. We're like, dude, I could outshoot anybody, and I'm shooting targets at 50 yards, size of a quarter, like aim small, miss small, right? And then I love these people not saying you, Ben.
But I was waiting for it.
But Ben, great for a beginner, getting the right equipment, to dialing it in for what you have done, and Jordan too. Like, it's just a natural. And I think that comes from you guys shooting guns and doing these things and understanding that dynamic of what it takes to dial in a shot, right? compared to people who've never ever shot a gun and they go shoot a bow and then it's just difficult.
Yeah. Yeah.
But speaking of that, like, there's like in anything in life, you're gonna hit that point of like contention, right? Or that sticking point. Like when I was having a hissy fit, like right before we went, and I was just like we had to shoot, and I was just like all off, and like and Ben was like, dude, Jordan's throwing a little tantrum like the whole day long. Or, you know, like you go and you do your first hunt and you romanticize it. You're going to like, oh yeah, I'm going to kill something my first time. It's going to be amazing. And you just end up falling a lot, and like me falling a ton and never even shooting your bow, you know? And then it's like, but it's like, do you have that in you to like push past that sticking point and keep with it, you know?
I will say I do understand, like I said a second ago, I understand the repetition. It's just not just with the bow, with anything, right? Shooting guns, martial arts, business. Yeah. It's repetition. I was definitely that guy George was just talking about. We went to the range with the bow, and I was like, dude, this is cake. Like, I'm shooting better than everyone around me, and this is the second time I've shot a bow. Yeah. Which is fine, right? Inside of a lane with no wind, with no adrenaline, with nothing,
Hashtag
right?
Hoyt bow.
Right? Yeah. And my SIG Alpha X, like, it's you draw back, you aim, and you shoot.
Right.
Easy. Yeah. And then I was like, okay, yeah, I get it. And George would tell us, it's not like this, just wait. And I'm like, bro, I can shoot. It's fine.
Mind you, you're shooting at 20 or
for sure. And inside.
Yeah.
You know? So, I mean, I get it now. And the experience of the actual hunt, there's so many factors that go to it. But I was that guy. I genuinely thought I was going to take down an animal on my first shot. I had no doubt in my mind. Literally. And that's not me being cocky. That's just I was confident in my ability.
You had a shot.
And I did.
And we'll get to that.
And we will. But I don't mean it in like a douchey, cocky way. I genuinely thought, I was like, I can shoot. The adrenaline's not going to get to me. Any of that's not going to get to me. I've shot things before. Like, it's going to be fine. And so I genuinely, and it wasn't in a cocky way. I was confident in my
You're
ability.
confident, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, we have to throw in too, like, because we haven't talked about it on the podcast yet, that like you have multiple deployments under your belt. Like you were in the military. Like it's not like you've hunted before. This isn't like your first go. Like so you had justified confidence.
Yeah,
in a way.
And we were putting the work.
In.
You know, in the 2 months that we've been bow shooters.
Even that, like for you, when the complications you have just getting your bow set up.
Oh yeah.
You know, the rest, sending the wrong righties and lefties, right? Yeah. I'm a lefty because I'm left-eye dominant. You guys are righties. So it's just like you got to order the right stuff, otherwise it ain't gonna work, dude. You know, so just those little micro hiccups literally up until a week before we actually went on this hunt.
Oh yeah.
To even get that dialed in and just get used to that, like it's just it sucks.
We just kind of went balls to the wall, which I would have it no other way.
Oh no, I loved it.
To be honest,
I loved it.
Well, no, you guys were. How long have we been planning?
A long time,
like years.
Way before I even got a bow.
Yeah, like I'm like, Ben, get a bow.
Yeah.
Get a bow, and then Jordan, like then Jordan came, and it was like perfect. All right, cool, we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
And then the time, I'm like, all right, guys, time's coming up, turkey hunt. Yeah. Let's go. This is gonna be your great first hunt because it probably is one of the hardest things to hunt with a bow.
You did say that.
Because of just the target size. Like when we're shooting at 3Ds, you got this big thing, but you don't realize you only have this big of an area because those tom turkeys puff up and there's nothing in.
Yeah.
Like Ben's shot he missed. And we'll get to that.
It's essentially like the lid of this cat.
Pretty much when that turkey was just like pecking at your foot. You know?
Dude, it was.
So let's so we're down to the week, we're all packed up. Ben's got his Sprinter van and we're dialed in. Okay, guys, my house, 4:30. We're gonna get on the road because we gotta drive 8 hours.
Yep.
And we want to get there and we want to hunt like that evening.
Right away.
That evening, yeah.
So you guys pick me up.
Yep.
Ben
get there early, which I love. I'm always, if you're there right at that time, I think you're late. So I'm always ready to go.
Yeah,
10,
you were
15 minutes.
chilling on the curb with all your stuff.
I had all my stuff. I'm so used to going by myself, and I have my truck set up. Not like these crazy Outlander fake guys who have their little gas tanks and water tanks and think they're like cool and shit. I'm literally, I got my bed, I got my rack, I got my cooler, I got my bow, and my essentials. Nothing fancy, just what I need. I've learned from backpacking, hiking, hunting, the less you have, the better.
Oh, yeah.
But you guys show up and we're camping. Don't have my truck, and I got everything. I got stuff for Jordan to sleep on.
Yeah.
I got our coolers, unless if we get meat to bring back, and the Yetis, and I got a fire pit because we're gonna be camp. Like, I just come prepared knowing I like the solo stove because it's smokeless and you got smoke blowing in your eyes, and I wear glasses and it sucks. So I think about all these little intricate things. So you guys show up and I have a whole sidewalk full of stuff.
These had so much stuff. I was like, where are we gonna fit this?
Yeah, but it was like the pads, right?
Yeah, no, it was amazing. I was shocked that we actually fit it all in your Sprinter van and had as much room that we did. Like those things are. That was I honestly, like, aside from you having the amount of stuff that you had and how perfect it was, the fact that we could fit it all in there and then still be super comfortable, I was blown away. Like, seriously blown away by.
It was super comfortable.
But like all the little things,
yeah,
like the little lanterns and all the little stove to heat up. Like, it's just all those little knick-knack things that just experience. You just learn what you need and what you don't need, right? I remember going on a backpacking trip and my friends for the first time, and they had 70 quart bags with everything. They had lights in it. I'm like, dude, we're hiking 8 miles up to a lake. You're going to be miserable. I'm in like a little 40 quart, tiny, just barely anything. I was cruising, right? And I'm just like, people just don't know.
Yeah.
But I wanted, like, forgot a sleeping bag. I had an extra sleeping bag for you and just all these little things. But we wanted to be comfortable. And we had Hidden House Coffee and Burritos of Palma to keep us happy.
That was awesome.
So you pick me up. We get on the road. Sun's not out yet. We're driving. You obviously have coffee. We have coffee. And then we get right out of the Grapevine off the 5. And we're like, let's go get McDonald's.
That's
which none of us eat McDonald's.
No, none of it. But perfect road trip food.
It was. But we walk into this freaking place.
And it's robots.
It's robots.
Weird.
They physically would not take, like, I don't know if you guys heard, there's literally like 2 dudes that were clearly on a road trip also came in right after us, and she was like, "Yeah, we don't help people.
Yeah,
there's no cashier.
Yeah, you got to order from the square.
Yeah, like you have to do the iPad thing.
Yeah, and I'm like, this is dumb.
It was pretty weird. That's the first one I've been to that you had to do the full order by yourself thing.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that yet.
And the thing is, like, fully brand new, nicest.
There was like
it's like
in the
futuristic table. McDonald's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, that's weird.
That you have to talk to a screen to get your food, which was very expensive too.
It was. They were
like
not
$30 for
cutting
like the 3 of us.
Cost.
No.
But that's a whole nother topic that we can maybe cover one day. But inflation does not just stop with minimum wage. We'll just say that.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother podcast we could get into.
Yeah.
Because I'm with you. As business owners who employ a bunch of people, and you too who manage a restaurant, like, okay. That's a whole nother podcast. So then we get on the road. Ben's back's hurting because he's sensitive. So I'm like, I'm going to drive. So I'm like, cool. Ben's like, I'm taking a nap. Then me and Jordan, I'm like, Jordan, let's become best friends.
I loved it.
Which you guys didn't really know each other before.
No.
Yeah.
I mean,
we met at the coffee shop.
Yeah, coffee shop in the range.
And I was chilling. I was laying down in the Sprinter while these guys were in the front. And the Sprinter's loud. So it's hard to hear when you're in that back seat. If you're not leaning forward to like be a part of the conversation, it's really freaking hard to hear.
Yeah.
And I was not leaning forward because I was dying of my sensitivity of my back. But I was just laying down. I could hear half of their conversation, but I was like, these guys they're talking. They're getting into deep conversations, light conversations, just talking. And I was like, this is cool because I've heard a lot of this of George already. So I was like, I'm just gonna let them keep talking. And then I feel like that was a really cool component because we actually, I think it was George said it or Jordan, one of you guys said it. But when we were driving, you realize if you're in the car for 6-7 hours straight driving and you haven't listened to a single thing on the radio, you haven't been on your cell phone or on freaking Instagram, you've literally just been in conversation. And that conversation took us from George's childhood to Jordan's childhood to some of my childhood through military, through George leaving home, through Jordan having a stroke, through all these things, you literally had 3 life stories like converging into one through a drive.
Yeah.
To the point, like, all of a sudden we're in Stockton going to the Sportsman, and we've already been driving 6.5 hours.
And it felt like 20 minutes.
Yeah. I'm just like, wait. Oh, and then Ben pulled out the Takis too.
Oh, yeah.
The Trader Joe Takis.
I was full dad mode. I had coffee and snacks.
You had everything. It was
You had all the gear. Jordan just freaking did nothing.
Jordan's like, oh.
I literally felt, I was telling my wife, I was like, I felt like a child for like the first time in a long time. I had no control over anything. I literally had to bring nothing but my bow, and I just sat in the car without having to drive, watch kids, be in charge of my wife.
Even cooking, you were saying.
Yeah, literally, because I cook at my house. Like I do like 90% of stuff for my family, and I literally just sat all weekend, and I was like, I have no idea what to do with. I literally felt like a child the entire time.
For me, that whole trip, like for me, if I got something stoked, this whole trip was like, I want to show these guys and give them the experience and understand why it is I rather come do this than go on vacation to Hawaii or something.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, for me, it is a part of my life of where if I'm going to spend any downtime with like close people or myself, I want to be out there. And it doesn't have to be hunting, but just away from the chaos that, you know, making decisions every day and all that. It's like, even when we're up there and we're spotting stock and I'm like, I got to go sit under a tree for an hour. I'll see you guys in a bit.
Yeah.
It's just
George was passed out.
Yeah, I was all passed out.
He's supposed to be calling turkeys. He was asleep.
Yeah. So we get to stop. You know, I do my natural routines, and we stop at these places that I like to stop, and then we get into town. We get to the place. We get to Chris's. Him and Whit open arms.
Yeah, that was
awesome.
rad.
And amazing host on this beautiful 20-acre property that we're planning on hunting. And then we got settled in and found our little camp spot that we're gonna post up.
Yeah.
And set up the tents, set up everything, and then I think we had a little snack or something.
We ate like some sandwiches.
Yeah, we had sandwiches.
Yeah, when we stopped at the grocery store, we grabbed all that food. That was delicious. That was so good.
So then we got food for the 3 days. And so we're like, all right, guys, it's perfect time. Turkey's going to be coming out. We heard some gobbling, and we just like, just go time.
I'm not going to lie. So we get there, and we start hearing gobbling, and I'm like, this, like the definition of like, this is going to be a turkey shoot.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, okay. Like, I was like,
you're like, oh, this is going to be easy.
I was like, I'm going to probably kill a turkey within the first 20 minutes of us being here, and then we can just hang out the rest of the time. And not even
so wrong.
Not even close.
So our first night, I decided not to take my bow.
Yeah, you didn't even bring your bow.
No, I'm like, I'm going to call these guys in. I want you guys to be ready. You don't have to do anything. Rangefinder, turkey call, my bino case, and coffee.
Yep.
And I'm like, you guys we're going to get one.
Yeah.
And sure enough, we did. We got out there, found a little spot. Weather was perfect.
Yeah,
it was beautiful. And sure enough, we look across, and it's this big tom, right? Huge tom. Actually, 2. I think it was two, right?
It was 2.
It was 2. And
strutting, like doing his thing.
Cruising.
Yeah.
The only thing is on the other property.
Across a main road.
Well, a small road.
Yeah.
Small road.
But it's like the
road.
main road in this freaking little town. And we're just sitting there. And we're waiting. George is calling it in. Jordan's relaxing.
Yeah.
And after like 30 minutes, I was like, all right,
Ben's ADD kicked
let's
in.
go. Like, let's go freaking, I'm going to go grab it.
I'm like, can't do that, Ben.
I'm going to go across the street, pick the stupid thing up, bring it over here, and Jordan, you're going to shoot it.
Yeah.
It's
And I'm like, can't do that, Ben. We can't. So this is the first evening, and we found a great spot. It was like on this little hump next to a tree. I think you guys posted a little video of where we were sitting. It was like awesome. Mind you were talking and all this stuff. And the hardest part is like, it was right there.
Yeah.
It was like right there, and we're trying to call it in, and it would come up right up to the edge,
like
of
right
the
up
street,
to the road, and just like
be
look
hey,
at
what's
us.
up, guys? You can't do nothing.
Yeah.
And just staring at it like, not like it was a nice Tom, right? Big old. That beard must have been
It was big.
a foot long, 10 inches to 12 inches long, and it just kept teasing us, dude, and teasing us. And then there was another one, and it kept teasing us. The crazy part is, I know the people across the way, but they weren't there. And out of respect, I'm not gonna just show up
and
to people I haven't seen since I was up here hunting deer in September, and just go over, and even though they would totally be cool with it, they would be like, but out of respect,
it's just not.
I'm just not gonna do that. And so we didn't, and we sat there, and
hours.
It teased us, and then we're like, all right, man, it's getting dark. Let's head back. The moment we start walking back to the camp spot, sure enough, what do you hear? Gobbling right where we were.
Yeah.
Right
where we were. So what do?
Trek back.
Trek back. And we go, and me and Jordan see this thing literally 30 yards from where we were sitting on the property we were on, hunting turkeys. And it was just teasing us again. And then it just disappeared.
Like
Literally,
ghost.
if we would have just waited 5 minutes, the thing would have walked right past where we were.
Yeah.
We had a decoy up.
That happened to us every day of the hunt, though.
It did.
Yeah.
It did.
And at different times. And that's a part of hunting.
That's part of hunting.
Right? I think it was just so frustrating because we were driving in. We were very, like, we have the romanticism.
Yeah.
We were teased hard from the second we got there because we're driving up to Chris's property and we see turkeys.
Yeah.
And literally in my head, I was like, oh, just like what you said.
Yeah.
Like, easy.
And
Easy.
Chris has been sending me videos of all the turkeys.
Yeah,
Literally
for
where we
weeks.
camped, where we set up camp, they're just hanging out.
Oh,
there.
yeah.
And that's a whole nother story we'll get to.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Because the day we left, the next day, there was 25 turkeys 10 yards away from where we were sleeping.
I literally could have unzipped my tent and just grabbed one.
Yeah,
and just pulled
pretty
it in.
much. Pretty much.
It was just so crazy. But that whole first day, we just drove freaking 8.5 hours, got there, said hi, did our thing, and then went straight into the hunt and thinking, oh, yeah, this is going to be it. Like, that's what I thought. I genuinely was like, I need one single shot. I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, whoever gets first. Like, I was expecting Jordan to be able to get the first shot, but they let me have it, which was rad.
Yeah.
And no.
Wait,
just sitting
that's day 2.
I know. I'm just saying, like, in general,
yeah,
my
yeah.
mindset was like,
yeah.
I'm going to let Jordan take the first shot.
No, because I was the child that like sat in the car and had no responsibility. I was like, I'm not also taking the first shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when George is like, no, Ben, you get the first shot, I was like, all right.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
It kind of worked out that way. But that night, so we get, obviously that one turkey, the last one, whatever. All right, you know what, guys? Let's go eat dinner.
Yeah.
And Ben brought a bottle of whiskey.
Yes.
And I don't drink anymore. But it was a moment, and I'm like, I'm going to share some whiskey with my buddies that on this hunting trip. So I had a little bit, and it was great.
That's great.
But on top of it is our dinner that we had.
Dude.
I brought sausage that I had Heritage Barbecue, Lennon. Thank you, Lennon. You're the best. Process the deer I hunted on the land we were hunting that I shot 20 yards from where we were camping.
Yeah. I was telling Devin about it that first night. For me, that was the most memorable part of the trip. And it was because it was a full circle of life type thing.
Yeah.
Where we're sitting on this property. George was awesome enough to like bring us in. And you could obviously tell, Jordan and I could tell like he was making this whole trip about us, the experience.
100%.
Which we were very grateful for. And like sitting out there, setting up our camp, George has everything. Like he said, he had everything dialed in, but not too many things where it's like overkill. You just had everything. And the fact that we were eating food like that was killed right there in the same place, but we were eating it as our dinner was like such a I can't really explain it, but it was like so meaningful.
Yeah.
It brought purpose to hunting.
Yeah, like, it wasn't like we went to the damn grocery store and picked up a freaking Wiener Schnitzel hot dogs, right? It was created and made from that land, and we were getting the the ability.
Our nutrients to go and hunt the next day.
Yeah, which some people would probably have a big deal with that, right? Like, oh my gosh, you're killing animals. But it's like we were surviving off of that food.
Yeah, I thought of it as like almost like a respect. Like it was like a respect for. It sounds weird, but it felt like a respect for the land.
Yeah,
it's like I'm grabbing fuel from the land to take from the land to grab fuel from the land. It was like, that was awesome. That was,
and
like,
that's the other
so cool.
like as a hunter now,
hunters,
and that's the other part people don't realize about it. Like when you process something in the field, there's a lot of stuff left, and that you are feeding other animals, right? It's like I left some, like the deer head, instead of coming and getting it clean and doing it, I'm like, no, I'm going to give this back. I'm going to let all these microorganisms and everything take advantage of this food and let it not go to waste. And leaving the carcass I left from that hunt earlier and let them clean it to the bone so I don't have to do any work either, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to bring that up because that was a really cool part for me was when we first got there. Obviously, we met Chris and Whit, and then we went up to the top of their property to go grab the skulls from your last hunt.
Yeah.
And it was cool seeing like you guys telling us a story about how they got up there and then the turkey vultures and all these different things where it's like you were feeding, I don't know, it was like, I'm not a very like spiritual land person, but like it was just cool seeing that respect for the property, that respect for the land, and like how like hunting actually gives back to the other animals in that area. Personally, I thought that was really cool. I told my wife about that part.
And a lot of people don't, because they'll take it.
Well, yeah.
And they'll go and process, and then that just goes in the trash.
You go bleach the skull and do all this different stuff.
Yeah,
but it was like perfect when we went up and grabbed it.
Yeah, it was like all, which you guys should see it now. I have it in the shop. But as a Native American, like the traditions I told you about, when you take something, you give something back. So I always carry tobacco with me. It's like a sign of like, you take a flower, you take anything. It's just in our nature and what I've been taught as a Native American, and why we carry tobacco, a lot of people, is for that reason. You take something, you give something back to the land. And tobacco is that thing that we do. And dig a little hole, put it in, or just give it back. And so that's a process, along with leaving that to let these other animals enjoy that food that would normally just get thrown out.
Yeah.
You know?
I gained more perspective on that. And not because I didn't care, but I think I've never really thought about it in that much depth, right?
Yeah.
Like I think about, I buy my food from high quality sources. I want to buy my food from, ranchers and farmers that are doing good things and repurposing and stuff like that. But I think like seeing that you left that there from your hunt the previous season and then coming back to it, like I would have never fully grasped it because I've never seen it. I've never had to see it.
Right.
And it's not something that I don't care about. I guess you take it for granted. And that was a really cool component. Like you take something and you give it back. I remember, like you said, you take something and you give it back, and then what you guys were taught is the tobacco, which I had no idea.
Yeah.
Well, I never thought, because I mean, like I grew up wanting to hunt. Like it's funny we were talking about that earlier. Like I've wanted to bow hunt since I was 12 years old, and like the turnaround from us actually buying a bow to going, which was crazy to think about it for 20 something years, and then to do it within like
2 months.
2 to 3 month span.
And mind you, your
crazy.
bow wasn't even set up until truly a week until the hunt.
Yeah.
That was when you were throwing the fit. I think we were leaving a few days later.
And honestly, that's why I was so frustrated, because I was like, dude, I'm supposed to be ready to go by now, and I'm not, which was sucked.
And I was sitting there laughing because I was putting freaking shots in a freaking quarter, and yet
okay, stop bragging.
No,
guy.
but
I'm the only person that got to shoot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying though. I'm here like super confident because I was putting freaking arrow on that stupid 3D turkey.
Right.
And then we get there, and
so let's go to that. The next day, we get up, we have our little protein bars and coffee, courtesy of Hidden House. Yeah. And
Plug.
You got to. It's good coffee.
Well, and you made us breakfast.
Yeah. Did I?
Yeah,
Yeah, you did that,
breakfast.
like potato and eggs.
Potato and
really
eggs.
good.
Oh, That was later though.
Was it? Did we just get up and go?
No, we just got up and go.
We went up. We got up early and we went.
Okay.
Yeah, and this was it.
Yeah.
This was like I had my bow. I'm like
we're getting something.
I gave them a chance the day before. My chance now. But then, sure enough, man, we get out there. We have our coffee, and we just see these turkeys down the way on the other property again.
Same freaking.
And I'm like, dude, I'm calling these guys in. I'm like, you guys stay here. I'm gonna go down over there. I'm gonna hide behind this thing, and I'm gonna call these in. And like 30 minutes, you just see them. I'm just calling, wait. They creep a little bit, and they're like, and gobbling. And then 5 minutes goes by, and they call them, creep, gobbling. And we just saw them slowly. And I'm like, trying to get your guys' attention. I'm like,
yeah.
Because you can't talk. Right. They see and hear every, like, and I don't know if you guys notice how quiet it is out there.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah, you hear everything.
Everything. That's a part, like, silence in nature is like, you hear.
Like, you could hear Chris and Whitney in the house talking.
You could hear bugs crawling in the leaves. Like, it's so that's why when you see these videos of hunters and they're whispering like this, and the animal's like 100 yards away, it's because it is so quiet and everything travels.
Oh yeah.
Like you have to.
That little turkey call would like the whole valley.
Yeah.
The whole valley, which was crazy.
Yeah. And I forgot chalk. I remember I got the chalk and I forgot it the night before, so I was struggling.
Yeah.
And then obviously got the chalk and it was great. But so I had you go one way.
That's right. I went over a knoll.
And then Ben, and I caught 6 turkeys, right?
Oh, man.
And they were going from one property, and then they come over to the property we were on, and they go to the other property, and they couldn't make up their minds what side of which property to go on, right? And finally I call them, and they get close, and they're probably 15 yards from me. And I'm giving signals to Ben.
Yep.
But he didn't understand the signals I was trying to give him.
Yep.
And being a new hunter with a bow, he was in a spot where he didn't feel comfortable shooting his bow because of where I was.
Right.
Which was valid. He didn't know. And the hand signals I was giving you weren't the best. It was pure excitement.
They weren't necessarily not the best. They're just not what I was accustomed to.
You weren't used to. This is your guys' true first spot in stock.
Sure, yeah.
Well, it's like the epitome, too, of us just never doing this together either.
And I wasn't like you. I didn't look up hunting videos. I was like green.
Well, you Marine, dude.
I mean, that's
and you've hunted before.
Yeah, and that's why I was like, whatever.
Okay.
But I was just
trying to give himself excuses.
yeah. But yeah, George called him in perfectly. But you tell your side because there's 3 sides.
There is 3 sides. We had Jordan on one side going, they walked right past me. I could have shot them. Right?
Yeah.
And then you had Ben who was perfect spot.
Yeah.
Well, I had a perfect shot
before
I got
Mind
to where
you, we're
I was.
on terrain. A lot of little rolling hills. Mind you, the property we're on is straight mountain climbing.
It's it's just straight up and down.
It's straight up, which we will get. That's coming up. The up and down and coming up and down this mountain for 3 days straight.
And not having proper footwear for me.
And you not bringing the right shoes. Which...
So dumb.
I felt so bad
and then
for
breaking
you.
my ankle the week later.
Yeah.
You know.
But I call this group of turkeys in, and I think you ranged it at 28 yards.
So it was 29, 31, and 30.
And I was at like in between, 15 behind like a
big old tree. Thing.
And I was calling them in, and they were there. They were just peeking their heads up, and they were just like, I'm broadside, Ben. Try to take me, right?
Yep. Yeah.
And Ben's like, whoa. And then so Ben foots himself, has a shot. I'm not looking at Ben. I'm just trying to keep these turkeys where they're at. And Ben ranges with his brand new rangefinder from Vortex.
Yes.
No sponsor at all. Laser red dot on it, everything.
With
It's
his
just like
gorgeous Hoyt bow.
this brand new Hoyt bow.
His Easton
dialed
arrows.
in his Easton arrows with
Looking
these
like Cam
amazing ripped broadheads on it.
Yes.
I guess, what were your nerves like at that moment?
100% honest, I didn't have any. And that's another reason why I was so pissed off. I wasn't like, oh my gosh, here it is. I didn't get like that excitement that people might expect from your first time like shooting something. I didn't get that because I know what that feeling is. I've had that feeling before, and I was fine.
Turkeys don't shoot back.
In my
turkeys
head, though,
don't shoot back.
but in my head, I was like, dude, cake.
Yeah, you like, I got this.
And so now that you told how you call them all in, and all of that is perfect. What I'm going through when I'm getting to George is the shot that I wanted to take the first time was the shot that I didn't feel comfortable because I would have shot past you.
Yeah.
And when I ranged it that time, it was like 25, 26 yards. I was shooting down. It was a perfect shot.
Yeah.
And I didn't take it because I didn't want to shoot past George.
Uh-huh.
And
out of respect, which you could have.
And before you get to the result, I want to give my point of view.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, keep going.
Yeah.
When you get to the point, then I want to talk about what I saw.
Okay. And so I do that. I don't take the shot. And another reason why I didn't take the shot, because again, I'm very paranoid when it comes to hunting and licenses and rules. I'm very paranoid about it.
You live in black and white when it comes to hunting.
And gray and everything else.
Yeah.
But
you weren't sure if the shooting lane was proper.
Well, the turkey was on the main road. The shot I wanted. They didn't...
No, it wasn't actually on the road. It was on the side of the road.
Yeah, but like right on the road / technically another person's property or the freaking main road. One of the two. I was just like, am I allowed to do this?
Yeah.
And so
it was early in the morning.
Those were the only things going through my head, not nerves or anything like that. I was like, don't shoot past George, and am I allowed to legally do this? Even though there's no one around, am I allowed to do this?
Yeah.
And so I opted not to, and George was giving me...
We're just going to say real quick, he had a legal shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
okay.
I didn't...
Yeah. But I'm just covering our bases in case someone's like...
But I didn't know these. These are first-time hunter things. I didn't know these things.
Which you should have learned by watching video. But you know what? We'll just... Because you know.
But I would rather be safe than sorry.
Yeah.
And...
you were cautious.
Yeah, and now that I know... Yeah. The next time we go, I'm
going to shoot right next to my face.
I'm freaking shooting whenever I want.
Yeah.
And so George was signaling me, but what I was reading was go to this particular tree, but he was trying to wave me past him.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what he was talking about. So when he finally waved me past him and I got to the tree he was referring to, I went to a different tree. I went even further back.
Yeah, you did go further back.
He was trying to tell me to come to the tree to the right of him. Mm-hmm. When he went like this to me, I went to the one all the way behind and to the left of him.
Yeah,
I could have been super excited because it's like your first. I'm pumped for you guys.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I called in this turkey for 30 minutes and just watched them tease me.
Not just a turkey, like six
turkeys.
Yeah,
good ones too.
So I finally. And this is where the first time hunting experience really this is the moment where I was like, oh my goodness, this is freaking hard.
Right.
It was a bunch of things, and it's silly things that I would have never thought of, like having a lanyard around my stupid rangefinder so I could just drop it right after I ranged it, right? Or when to knock an arrow, how to adjust my sight in a matter of like seconds.
Because you have single pin.
Yeah. So all these things, right? Which I love the single pin for the range. Mm-hmm. Like all these different things. And then apparently I had a user error with my rangefinder because I ranged 3 different
It was reading
yards.
wrong.
I will give this to you because I had the same thing happen with your rangefinder at the range earlier that week.
But of course, I hand it to George, and George ranges every single time perfect. But
professional.
But for me, I was like, okay, what the heck am I doing wrong? You know? Yeah. But it happened to him too, so I don't know. Maybe I just need to change the battery.
It's newer. No, it's fine. The part is those rangefinders are so detailed. Like if there's like a little branch sticking out in the crop, like if it touches that, it's gonna range that.
Oh yeah.
It is so touchy, finicky. But okay, so going to the shot you had, this thing blew like it tomed up.
Yeah.
So, and you ranged it
3 separate
when it wasn't tomed up.
Yeah.
And you hit some feathers.
Yes.
Yeah. So what I see is, so I see George start motion. So I was like, Ben, you better go, because I know I'm not. We had all agreed Ben was getting the first shot.
Yeah.
Well,
he was set up for first.
But I was
shot.
like, I'm gonna go to like this other knoll where there's a nice little spot there. I was like, in case they decide to shoot up that on the opposite side where neither of us would be able to shoot,
Yeah.
or if Ben shoots one and they scurry off, I can try to get a shot.
Yeah.
So I'm over there, and I see them just move automatically past me. So I'm like, oh, they're past. I'm gonna come back around. Ben's gonna get a shot. Let's see this thing.
Yeah.
So I'm literally sneaking back, and I see Ben start drawing back, and I like look over just in time just to see
Yeah.
feathers everywhere.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I come running out. I'm like, where is it?
Yeah.
Nope, I missed.
No.
By like probably 2 inches in theory. Like when you're looking at like this cap, if you hit the bottom of the stupid turkey and it's not in this kill zone.
You're just hitting feathers.
Yeah.
You did not wound the turkey.
No,
No.
I did not.
Which is way better. So like just a complete miss.
Yeah.
Not.
Yeah.
I don't mean that in a rude way.
I wish I would have
He
just
had some feathers fly.
Yeah, I wish I would honestly. The way my brain works,
And you
the way
lost
I
your
am.
$27 arrow.
Yeah,
When
I
you
wish
added
I
all
would've-
up. Arrow,
Broadhead on
Nah.
it.
broadhead, all that.
I
Like,
wish I would have just missed the turkey by 2 feet, because for me, it was there's so several factors that went into that. The error of the range finding, right? The error of when I should have knocked the arrow. All of those things. The error of me adjusting my sight. So with the 3 ranges that I did the rangefinder, I went to the middle. I should have just went to the furthest distance, looking back at it now. But again, you don't know these things, right? I was like, okay, I just got 3 different numbers. I'm going to go in the middle, and thinking based off of like.
And that close, like centimeters count.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I hit a turkey, but I missed where it would actually hurt it. Yeah. But I just remember when I drew back, I was like,
uneven terrain, because you were kind of on a hill.
I was, my left leg
was low.
I had to plant it lower.
You were kind of like the guys pushing up the flag up the hill.
Yeah,
that's
I had
exactly
to do
what
my
you were.
left leg and do that, and I felt comfortable. Everything felt great. The only thing that didn't feel good was my distance, and I was rushing because they're moving. So I was like, let me adjust my sight really quick, because on my sight I also should have had it unlocked.
Yeah.
That way, all I had to do was move it and put it back. But again, not knowing these things, I tried to do all of this in one. Range find, and since I didn't have a lanyard, had to put it back into my pouch. Then knock my arrow, adjust the sight, draw and shoot within a matter. Realistically, it sounds like a lot of steps, but you're doing that in like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And looking back at it, I wish I would have undid my sight screw first, or already when I was walking to you, knocked the arrow, undid my sight as I'm walking to you, had a lanyard on my rangefinder, and the first thing I would have done right when I got there was range find, drop it, because it's on a lanyard, adjust the sight, and the other thing I would have done differently is I would have put my trigger already on
because you have
your D-loop.
You have a
the
trigger release.
Yeah. So I should have clipped it on.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to reach into my pocket to grab that.
Yeah.
So there's so many different factors.
But that's the part that people don't know is all the steps that goes into
with a
just
gun,
to get to that.
I would have
one
shot that thing from the mountaintop.
Yeah.
And then right afterwards, so that he misses, then the turkeys start going up that other.
So they turned
other thing.
So here's the great thing about bow hunting, is it's quiet.
Oh yeah.
And those turkeys had no idea what happened. They didn't even know we were there. They're just like, what just happened? Nothing was there to scare them. It was just like, what just happened? So they're like, back to normal. And what do those turkeys do?
They started going up the hill.
Where you were.
Where I was.
That you just came from.
Well, I just came from, so I should have stayed there.
Yeah.
That was the first thing I learned. I should have stayed there.
And you're wearing the shoes that don't grip.
That
and
I
we're
don't
climbing
grip.
over rocks and hills and everything.
So I try to make my way back, and I get to a spot where I'm like, okay, they'll probably settle here. Like, that was my guess. It was like, okay, so I'm like, they're probably going to settle here. Like, that's where they've been settling. So I have my rangefinder out, and I'm getting ready, and all of a sudden, they don't settle. They, like, keep going. And I'm like, that's so weird. Then I look over, and I see Ben, like, sprinting up the hill. And in my mind, I'm like, that son of a... which is why I'll leave it later, because I had another hissy fit.
Yes,
I will fully admit I had another hissy fit. Because I'm a child, and I throw hissy fits. I'm working on it. So now I'm trying to chase these turkey up the hill, and Ben's trying to get up around them. And so I'm clearly now pushing them, but Ben's also pushing them.
Yeah.
And then we hit this like wooded area, and I see, from my perspective, I didn't know
Which
that
is
Ben
the
had,
wrong one.
And mind you,
like
this
6
isn't
turkeys.
like, oh, little hill. No, this is straight up hill
Mountain.
climbing.
This is like 300 yards of just
I went freaking
like,
Afghanistan mode and
Yeah.
sprinted up that.
yeah. And mind you, Ben has like slit discs and herniated discs and tears in his
literally
back.
complaining the whole
Yeah.
time. Even though he slept in his comfortable bed in his Sprinter when we were in tents.
Yep. Yep.
He's
besides the
still,
point.
yeah.
So I
Young
just
blood.
see, I accidentally, either I bump or he bumps a deer, and all these turkeys, I just see them start flying up to roost because
Yeah.
we're up on that mountaintop. They start flying down the mountain and they just roost up top.
Yeah.
And I just yell, "They're gone!" And Ben's like, "Wait, hold on a second," because he sees in their turkey. I'm like, "No, they're gone!" And I like, just like, and I just like go down the hill. George's like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "Ben scared all the turkeys."
Yeah.
Mind you, how many deer were there, though?
A ton.
A ton of deer.
Yeah.
That wasn't fair.
We
So-
saw some pregnant ones, too.
Yeah, we
Their
did.
bellies were big.
I'm excited for September.
Yeah.
The best part about that whole story is there were so many learning curves, like learning, and we said this after Jordan, had changed his,
After I was done pouting.
after he was done pouting.
I'll admit it, I
and
was
got
pouting.
a Snickers,
I did. I Betty Whited that situation.
There was,
Sorry.
I was gonna say what I was trying to do, and again, this is how my mind works, and I'm not saying this to be like, oh, look at me. I missed.
Yeah.
So my thought process was, it's Jordan's turn.
Yeah.
That's why I freaking sprinted up a freaking mountain with a hurt back, was because the way my brain works and how I am trained is I'm going to go high vantage,
Push him
Push him down.
And that's what I did. I freaking sprinted, cut left, got to a point where I'm now looking down at them and Jordan, and I'm trying to push them back down, but Jordan and I were not communicating together. So Jordan continuously going up was pushing them further when I was trying to bring them down.
Yeah.
I should
But
have.
that's, you weren't,
We weren't communicating.
Yeah, and again, so many first time
we don't have the
things.
little
Yeah.
things like you guys had in
Which would have been rad if we
Afghanistan.
had
That'd be
that.
super
Because
cool.
I could have been like, yo, don't move. Let me push him down to you.
Because you can't scream, Jordan, wait there, I'm going to bring him down.
Yeah. Because you're trying to do all of this without communicating.
But here's the thing. You guys, I took you guys on your first hunt, which was hunting turkeys, which is probably the hardest thing to hunt. And you didn't sit in a blind like most hunters do when they hunt turkeys with their shotguns or bows.
I would have went nuts.
You guys were spot and stock that whole trip because they don't put in that effort to want to go do that, right?
Yeah. No, we learned a lot.
I fell in love with that first push where like everything just went wrong. Was like the moment for me where I was like, oh, I'm hooked.
Yeah.
That's it. Like I was like, I will do this the rest of my life.
Well, that was like when we got back to camp, you're just like, I think that was more fun than probably even taking a shot, is the chase.
Yeah.
Of the stalking that thing, which I love the most to do, is the stalk, is that chase, and then the prize is like, I got the shot.
Yeah.
And that's
I loved it.
That's like, going, it's not a great playing in the Super Bowl and being like, yeah, and then we won, and then you got your prize.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, just the fact that I got the shot was so worth it. And I think that's how you know you're with a good group of guys too, to do that, because you guys gave me that first shot, which was rad. It was ended up being the only shot we got the whole trip. And the thing for me is, like I said, I missed. So my brain flipped to, I gotta get the next guy his shot.
Yeah.
I already missed. I'm an idiot, right? So let me get the next guy. And I think that was just something so fun, right? Because we could, if I would have been very selfish, or George, you would have been selfish, or Jordan, you would have been selfish, it would have been very easy to have that one mess up like ruin the trip.
Yeah.
But after Jordan left me on the top of the mountain because he threw a fit, it was he was good, and we were like 5 minutes later, all laughing and joking at how I missed a shot and how we chased him up a mountain.
If it helps, when I was throwing a fit, I also fell. So I fell a lot.
You slipped a lot on that trip.
Well, it's funny. So you didn't know this. So we went to the range a couple weeks ago, and when I went to go shoot, my like sight completely unscrewed. Like from falling so much, like even if I would have gotten a shot, I definitely would have missed. So at my 20 was like not even close.
Yeah, that was one thing I because
all my
rattling.
set screws were gone.
Yeah, you were rattling, and I'm like, always check.
Yeah,
those all the micro screws, because they do come loose.
Yeah.
Which he didn't even realize, because the first few shots again, he was like, dude, what is wrong with me? He also has a broken foot right now, so he's like, I'm just off. Yeah. And then it was like half an hour in, you're like, dude, my sight's like hanging off.
Well, obviously my foot, I'm now at a weird angle anyway, but yeah, it wasn't even close. So, which is fine because I got a new sight that I need to put on anyway.
Good dads, good dudes. Good dudes, good dads.
That was so fun.
I think again, just the experience of doing what we got to do, like, not to get all like mushy and weird. Like, you were the best person to ever take us on that trip, George. Like that was
100%.
That was that's something I'll probably never forget. And I mean, we didn't even kill anything, but it was the experience as a whole. It was the drive up, the crap that you had sitting on the freaking 4:30 a.m. dark Santa Ana street, like me forgetting Jordan's sleeping bag in my truck, like all these things just,
and me having extra sleeping bags.
Yeah. And it was just the whole experience as a whole. Like, we had the next day of hunting, we had a very similar experience where Jordan and I just freaking, like, there was one stupid turkey the whole time. We couldn't find them. They were all on the other
you guys
property.
were chasing that turkey
forever,
all day long.
We went up and down that mountain so many times.
Well, we were so desperate to like get one, and I was so desperate to make sure you got a shot. And for the record, here on this damn podcast, I had a clear shot 17 yards away, and that's how you know I know how vivid it was, because the number 17 has been the same number.
So he claims he didn't take the shot because he felt like I should have the next shot, but I was nowhere even capable of being able to shoot.
You were still in the vicinity. So my thought process was, if I keep pushing him up towards Jordan, just like the second day, he's going to get that shot. But it was just me, the stupid Tom, no one else around. If I would have missed, the backdrop was all trees, so the arrow wouldn't have gone far. 17 yards away, me and him. And I was like, oh, Jordan's right here. I'm looking at this turkey, straight shot this way. Jordan's here, and I'm here. And I was like, I could take the shot.
And now, later that day, he's like, I saved that for you, but never again.
No,
if I have the shot,
I will never shoot it again.
I'm going to take the shot.
Don't ever.
I will never be a nice guy
unless you already have your. You'll never be a good dude ever again.
No, from now on, I will be selfish. Because all I got after that was Jordan was like, "Why didn't you shoot it?" I was like,
"I just, are you
kidding
sound
me?"
like you were afraid to miss.
Most people would have been like, "Thank you."
Yeah.
No, Jordan's like, "You're such an idiot. Why didn't you shoot it?" I was like, "That's because I already got to. I had a shot. It was your turn."
That's because we're real friends, Ben.
Yeah. But
fake friends would have been like, "Oh man, thank you so much." Me, I'm like, "You're dumb."
Yeah. But this time we got smarter. I called Jordan on the phone, and he answered. And I was trying to whisper to him where he was, but the service was off, so we didn't fully hear each other. And from my vantage point, and again, when you're looking for people that don't understand vantage points and like what it looks like when you're on an incline versus a decline. When I'm standing on an incline looking up, and there's woods and trees and all this stuff in the way, what I'm viewing is not what the guy from the higher vantage point looking down is viewing. And so from my view, the reason why I didn't take that shot is if that turkey would have went, again, from my perspective, 5 feet up, that's Jordan's like there.
Yeah.
And from his, which I couldn't see because of the angles, he had just nothing but trees in the way. Yeah. So again, like I couldn't see that. I could see Jordan's silhouette, I could see the turkey, and I could see the clearing, the open clearing ahead. And I was like, oh, cool. But again, this is all just like, it all goes back to the experience, the chase, the adrenaline. 3 guys that have never been hunting together before, or not even just hunting, any type of activity that would require us to learn to communicate with
and be vulnerable.
Words. And
I mean, dude, think about we George, you and I had like 6 hours straight of conversation. And I literally told my wife this because one thing that I haven't done in a while and I loved when I used to live with a bunch of dudes in this house. We would sit around the fireplace and we'd have a legit real conversations, not like fluff conversations. And we had this conversation on the way up too, that it was like, so often in life you have these like fluffy, not real conversations, and to be able to sit and have like real conversations about your faith or your life or your struggles or your failures, all these things that most people don't talk about was so exciting and rewarding that like if that whole trip would have been just that drive for me, would have been a whole like worth it.
It's having conversation with substance, right?
Right.
You could have meaningless conversation, but it's like we get to an age and so to play off that, it's like, and I told you guys this, and it was funny, Whit was just down here, and when we're in the kitchen after that morning hunt the next day, and Iggy, their new boy, who's funnier than, and then the bulldogs, and we're eating there making breakfast. And me and Whit were talking about, and we're all in the kitchen, and we're eating breakfast. And I was telling her, I'm like, Whit, I got emotional, like in that moment, to where I almost like, I teared up, like I'm surrounded by these guys, and I see their love for their family. I got to see this side of. Like when I see Ben at work, like we're doing work stuff, or I'm grabbing coffee, and we spent 3 days together. So like when I go hunt, I go by myself. Most of the time, and it's for me to reflect and get away from the chaos. And my wife, at the beginning, she's like, how come you don't call me and check in? I'm like, it's my time. Like, it's not that I don't love you, and it's not that I don't miss you guys. Like, I want to be away, and I want that desire to just miss you and want to come home, right? But that's how I see things, and I got to see how you guys interact with your wife and your kids every day. From the moment we got to camp and Ben's like FaceTiming and the kids are like, oh my God, this is awesome. And you with your wife, and then you guys wake up in the morning and we're drinking coffee and you're FaceTiming, and it's just like, I saw this thing and how Whit was with Iggy, and we're all eating breakfast together, and I'm like, I got to do something, man. I've had struggles in my life and losing a child, and it's been difficult because of the fear of losing something again. And that stops me from wanting to be this person that I feel inside, that I know I love life. I love the people I'm surrounded by. I love creating, and that's what I do. But there's this part of me that is so afraid of losing something that I don't give it enough time to just be vulnerable and enjoy it. And it helped me a lot to see how you guys are with your families and your children and all that. And I feel I've been missing out on so much because I'm not letting that happen. So as much as it was like eye-opening for you to have that experience, just that and seeing that has opened me up to understanding I need to do more for my wife and child right now.
So
Yeah.
Like it's like, where we think this person's there helping us through these things and showing us this gratitude, and me wanting to take care of you guys and show you the best trip. That's just who I am as a person. It's not to like expect it, like I never have expectations for anybody. That's who I am. But you guys doing what you did, being what you represent as the good dude, good dad, and seeing how you are, that helped me see life completely different now. And it's changed a lot. Like I go to therapy every week, and it's something that I've been talking about, and it's something that I've shared with my wife and wanting to put in I don't want to call it an effort because it is something that should just naturally happen.
Yeah.
As a husband and as a father, it's like, but that fear, that you know, it's like that devil on your shoulder that's like, dude, you can't have a good life because your fucking life has been shit.
Yeah.
And you don't deserve, you know?
Yeah.
To where I do deserve it. Like, and I'm not going to let you win.
Yeah.
I'm going to beat you every fucking day if I got to wake up and fight you. I'm going to do it. Yeah. And I'm going to put in the effort every single day, you know?
That's what's cool about everyone's story.
Yeah.
Is you seeing Jordan and I do that, what we were doing is not, it's just who we are. That's how we are. But I've never dealt with the loss of one of my children.
Mm-hmm.
And Jordan hasn't. And I don't know, I'm just saying it out loud because I don't know what you've gone through. Mm-hmm. Like if I were to, dude, I'm about to cry just thinking about if I were to, like if I were to lose one of my kids, I don't know if I would be who I am.
Yeah.
And that's just the truth. I would like to think my faith in God and the foundation I have set for myself through just years of like work and self development. Mm-hmm. I would like to be like, oh yeah, I would be me. I can't tell you that.
Yeah.
There's no freaking way. I love those kids. I would give my life for those kids any day of the week. So there's nothing, you're not wrong.
No, and it took me a long time to realize it's not me being selfish but even like the drive home, man, even that we conversation for 6 hours. But dude, when your dad called, you know how freaking hard that was for me to sit there and listen to that. I fucking never had that, dude.
Yeah,
I never had a father to share in those fucking moments with, man. And sorry,
no, you're good. I mean,
it's just like I've missed out on so much shit because of my issues, and I'm just sick of it. I'm so sick of letting that win, you know? Yeah. I admire, like, it's not that I wish I had that. It's just beautiful to see. And it's not me being jealous of you, and it's not me, or like even you talking about your dad and how you're like, dude, I'm driving up here next week and I'm going to be up here and come see my parent. Like, I don't have that.
Yeah.
I don't have anybody. But then I have this child that I could give all that to, and I don't know how to do it because I've never had it, and I don't know what it's like. And I don't know what that experience is because it was never there for me.
Yeah.
I've had people in my life that definitely helped me in certain times, you know, but I don't know what that wake up every day and have that parent there or have that role model or just somebody you look up to your dad, dude. I can hear it in your voice. And it's like we're talking that one day and it, you know, I'm not going to bring up what we're talking about, but just how much you just wanted to give back to your dad because you love him so much.
Yeah.
My friends like you and now like that is my family.
Yeah.
You know, like Alberto and those guys, like that I've created my own family, you know, that saying, it's like, yeah, you're born with the family you have and it's amazing if that works out. But as somebody who doesn't have one, I get to make my own family. And that's what I've done my whole life. And surround myself with good people, good dude, good dads, you know? Yeah. And when I got to find out, like, when I saw you guys doing this thing with the good dudes, good dads, I'm like, yes, I think there needs to be that. I think there needs to be, there's people out there that have gone through so much stuff that need people like you guys. As much as you know, it's not a competition, but we could learn so much from each other.
100%.
And people take it for granted.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like, oh, I got this and I got that and I'm better than, nah, man. You can learn so much from somebody who has nothing and so much somebody that has everything. And if you take advantage of accepting that and learning from them, you could just live a happier life. It's not about who has what and how much money you have. It's what they're going to give you. And like this hunting trip, dude, I could do that every weekend with you guys.
Yeah.
You know?
It was life breathing.
I mean, dude, I want to speak two things into that. Like the first is that just acknowledging the fact that you took all that from that and you have that willingness to want to change and that willingness to want to be there and that willingness, like you have that so deep in you that you're going to figure it out. Like it's clear when you talk about it. And that's what drove me to so much emotion when you're talking about it, because it was like you took that and instead of giving yourself excuses as to why you couldn't do that, I can see in that you're like, I'm going to figure this out. Yeah. However painful it needs to be, we're going to figure this out. Yeah. And two, man, you do that. And I can tell you that in the way that you showed us love by taking us on this trip. Because not a lot of people would put the time, effort, and the amount of love into two people that, I mean, you know Ben, but not really on a super deep level. And like me, I was basically a complete stranger. Yeah. And the fact that you showed us your love through your cooking, you showed us your love through your vulnerability, you showed us love through your telling me about your story, about your daughter, about, you know, your kids now or your daughter now, and all this different stuff, dude. Like you're so full of love, and it's awesome. Like it seeps off of you. It just looks a little different than ours.
Yeah. Which that shows, like what Jordan's saying, that shows like the deepness that is there. Like again, we can't say, Jordan and I cannot say
I can't.
We would feel the want to even have what you're referring to. I would like to say yes, but I can't.
I've never been there.
I'm not there. I'm not you. Yeah. And I don't take any of the stuff that I've had growing up for granted. I am very much aware of like how lucky I am to have a dad and a mom that I do have, and the amount of people that my parents touched growing up, like kids that didn't have dads. My dad was like that guy, and you know, I don't take that for granted. My wife, as we were talking about, like she didn't have that.
God, we talked about a lot of stuff, dude.
We did, and I think
like a lot. That trip was
that was
like emotional enema. You would say, like we, like we. From we talked about everything.
Yeah.
Like personal, like, and that's the other, finding a place, like you said, but to feel safe. Yeah. That's the other thing. In our hosts.
Yeah.
That
incredible.
You know, like just, but dude, that moment, that experience, driving home from this amazing hunt and then your dad on the phone with you. Yeah. That was beautiful, man. And I want your dad to know that. Like, as much as for him, it might not seem like a lot. Dude, for me, that was everything. Like, we were talking about, like, God and everything and my struggle with it and all that stuff. And who knows, you know, maybe all that going to change. But stuff like that is just, like, gives me hope that someday soon, or hopefully, I could find this path I've been walking down to get to where I need to get to, you know?
I think the biggest thing, though, and the biggest takeaway Jordan was just saying is you could have looked at the way we were doing things and had the total opposite approach of saying
100%.
They don't know what it's like. They've not gone through, Ben's had a cookie cutter life. He doesn't understand what it's like to go through what I've gone through. So that's why he's the way he is. That's why he gets to, you know, choose to love my kids the way I choose to love them, because I haven't dealt with some of that stuff. You could have easily done that, especially, you know, because you already know you have this tendency right now to not let yourself get as close as you want to be. Like, it would have been so easy for you to have been like, they don't get it.
Out of a victim mindset.
Yeah.
I don't like victim mindset is just that's you giving up on yourself completely.
For sure.
Playing victim.
But it's also it's
incredibly easy to do.
Yeah. But it's an encouragement from me, at least, to see that. Because I told Jordan, I was like, dude, George has a gnarly story. I told him that before you even told him all that. I didn't tell him the details because that was up to you.
Yeah.
But he could have also heard it, you know, on the last podcast we did together. But like, I wanted it to come from you.
Yeah.
And again, man, you have so much that you're wanting to give. I think it would be so easy again to just do the complete opposite and just be like, no, this is how it's going to be. I've been living my life this way for so long. if you know, my wife, my kids, they get it now.
No.
But you're choosing to not have that.
Yeah.
And I think that takes so much more balls and heart and character and emotion than the opposite of just turning off.
Yeah.
And so, like, I just want to encourage you in that, man, is like the way I am with my family, it doesn't mean it's everything, right? It's just how I've chosen to do that.
Yeah.
But it's not because I'm better than you or than Jordan.
No,
it's
not at all.
It's just what I've chosen.
You also, we put effort, just like you saw, we put effort into it.
Yeah.
It's not like, like, I don't know about you, but like, we're intentional about it.
Yeah.
Especially, like, dude, I have to say, like, watching Ben, because your schedule is one of the craziest schedules I've ever seen, like, ever.
Yeah.
Like, the amount of stuff you do and the amount of time that you do it in, like, is second to none. And, like, people say, like, Jordan, you have ADD, and the fact that you can get so much done in a short time is incredible. And Ben's, like, 4 gears higher than I am. And I just can't comprehend it.
Yeah.
And yet you're so intentional about your time with your kids and your wife and feeding into them and loving into them because you choose to do that, too. Yeah. And it's, you know, yeah, we've had great examples growing up, but also I've seen people with great examples that still don't do that. We're very intentional.
That are still.
Well, that's the thing. Like, with social media, like, obviously you guys have good dude, good dad thing, but regardless of what you're posting, that you're like that without all that. You know what I mean? And there's so many people out there fake, and I guess that's what I'm trying to say, is like there's so much fake. They want people to think they're this way. Nah, man, I'm telling everybody, this is how you two are. Early in the morning, when you just wake up from camping with sleep in your eyes, and the first thing you do is FaceTime your kids because they're used to you waking up and seeing dad, and you want to make sure that they know you're safe and you're there.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, dude. And you don't need to show the world that, because it's not for them to see.
Yeah.
That's your guys' thing, man. And I wish people could go and have these experiences like this and not make it about letting what the world sees, but just living in that moment, right? Like, think about our last day of the hunt, right? And we're chasing that turkey and we're sitting up on the top of that hill and we're just sitting there, and I sent you the videos.
Yeah.
And it was like perfect sun hitting through the trees. The weather was perfect. Like, it was just so moment. Like, I usually don't have my phone with me, but it was that time where I just got to capture this.
Yeah.
And then, as much as I want that memory to be locked in, and that's why I don't film stuff, it was just something that I wanted to capture so you could see through my eyes of what I'm seeing with the looks on your guys' faces of being where you're at, right?
Yeah.
I could care less about the turkey when we were up there.
No.
When we finally got up, and we were just, all three of us were just standing there, and it was like, we knew where the turkey roughly was, and it was like, just doesn't matter. Like,
And of course, when we leave, it comes.
it comes right back.
Which, okay, let's go to that. So you guys chase that thing back over, and then this is the last of we're planning to leave because the rain's come in. We're planning to stay an extra day. And we're coming to the end of our hunt. And Ben comes and he's on the property and he's chasing this turkey, and I'm calling it in. I was calling it in from the house or from where we were camping. And you guys were clear on the other side of the property.
Yeah.
And Ben chased this thing down the mountain, across the thing.
Dude.
And then and I'm sitting up on this driveway, and this turkey's coming up, and Ben's following it. And then I look over, and I'm looking through the trees, and I look at Ben. I'm like, Ben, come here. He's like, what? I'm like, get over here. And there was a cat. Not like a, Chris
Big
says
cat.
it was a bot. Nah, man,
Dude,
that was a
big
lion,
cat.
dude.
Yeah.
Big cat.
A
And I
mountain
would've
lion,
wa- I
people,
would've walked
not
right-
like an actual lion.
Yeah, I
and
would've
you were
walked right into
walking
it.
straight to it. And I'm like, Ben, get up. And Chris was over, like, I'm like, Chris, get over here. And I'm looking through these trees. It's like one of those movies where the camera's zooming in, but it's not really zooming in, and it's just the trees coming past. And there's this cat with its ears
Yeah.
just staring at us, dude. Like, and it wouldn't move. Like
creepy.
We're talking and it would not. It was like a statue.
I'm not gonna lie. So I was still trying to find that turkey at that point, and we had Ben had seen mountain lion tracks earlier, and literally the only thing that was going through my mind is because I was like 2 knolls over.
Yourself.
I was like, I'm by myself, 2 knolls over, and I was like, this is exactly where we saw the mountain lion tracks. I was like,
and did you have your knife on you?
I have my pocket knife, but like I was like, I'm screwed. I literally was just like thinking, I was like, well, I'm gonna kill a turkey, hopefully, or I'm gonna get mauled, or both.
Cat is gonna come get the turkey I just killed.
It was because Jordan had no clue. I had already ran back down the mountain onto the main road.
Oh, dude, you were all over the place.
I saw big old cat tracks too, right where I was. So I was just like,
Chris still thinks it was. I can't believe he said it was a house cat.
Yeah, dude, that's the biggest house cat. If it was a house cat and we're 50 yards away and it looks like
a house cat at that point.
What's funny is the picture he sent me of the one that mauled was the same color in ears that we saw. I'm like, Chris, are you convinced now?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I'm kind of convinced. Yeah. And mind you, there wasn't one. There's 2.
Yeah, it's freaking terrifying, man.
Yeah.
So I guess it was kind of good we packed up and left like seriously. 2 hours later, right?
All that to say, I'm super thankful for the experience. It wasn't just a great experience for you. Like it is cool. Like we each got something very different from it. I gained perspective on a lot of things. For me, mentally, I think it was like the release that I needed, that I didn't know I needed. And just like spiritually and emotionally, it was just like one of those things where, like you said, it was a time to unplug. The only people I talked to was like my wife and kids, and then 1 or 2 work things. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, I was pretty like removed. And it was one of those things it was literally life breathing, not life sucking. There's a lot of life sucking things in the world. It was life breathing.
And when you're physically wearing yourself, like we went to bed, except when Chris came down to the bonfire.
Yeah, no, that second night we went to bed 11. Late, dude. Like, for how long of a day we had.
We were going to bed like around 9 o'clock.
Yeah, that first night.
Yeah. I mean that was the whole experience. One, I realized I will bow hunt the rest of my life. Yeah. Like I just absolutely fell in love. Having done it with somebody who has the Native American background and learning that respect, my first bow hunt now is gonna, like, I'm taking that with me in other hunts, like for sure. Just that level of respect for the land. And then, I talk about a lot with young men that like I mentor. I was like, men were a lot like compressed air bottles, and we take so much and we put so much on ourselves, and every once in a while you just have to hit the release valve a little bit to let some of the pressure out. And that trip was like a release valve for me, where it's like I'd let a lot build up that I didn't even realize, and being able to being with a group that was so open and being able to be so open, it allowed that pressure release a little bit. That just I felt so relaxed when we got back. And the whole trip, like I said, that whole trip was worth just that car conversation on the way there, and the rest was just bonus.
Yeah.
Like literally the whole other thing.
Yeah, that's bonus. How I feel. Like everything. Honestly, the whole trip was bonus. Yeah. Even though we came back a day earlier, it was all like. All of it was bonus.
And with no turkeys. But it didn't matter.
I loved every second of it.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Well, it's not like we're probably going to all be hunting. I mean, we got some trips.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, you guys want to go right now? Like right today?
I would go right now.
I'm like, we could go.
I want to go literally, like, I have the bow in my car.
I know. We could go. Pig hunting. I mean, there's so much we could do, but September, we'll be August. Because we're bow hunters, so we get a month early. But I think it's going to be a good season this year.
Yeah,
there was a lot of big bucks that I showed you guys that are up there and are just getting bigger. So I think this season coming up is going to be a good one.
And Jordan gets the first shot if we're 3 together again. So,
I mean, if we saw, which we'll see more, the amount of deer we saw, I think will be good.
Whoever's in the best spot takes the first shot. Then I don't want this guilt hanging over me again.
But we are gonna spot and stock again. So
that's all. And
this one's different. This one, I guess we got a bigger area to shoot, so we can be a little bit further back.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
Well, my man, thank you for sharing.
Dude,
thank you for taking us on our trip. thank you for everything.
Yeah, man.
Jordan, thank you for starting. Good dude, good dad.
Oh.
And
thanks for helping me.
Oh, thanks for my swag bag too.
Oh, let's go.
Literally, a bag full of swag.
A bag full of swag.
all right, another great episode.
Be a good dude. Be a good dad.